Well, I hope you're having a lovely day. It's September the 17th, 106 days left in the year. So this is your daily devotional, your thought for the day, 10 minutes of fun facts, history, and the Word of God. If you're new here, click a like, subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend. Let's get into it. Starting off with Luke chapter 17, verse 21. That they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. For those of you reading the Bible in a year, today you are reading Proverbs 27 to 29 and 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Here's your thoughts for the day. Grasp the subject. The words will follow. Everyone is entitled to be stupid, but some abuse the privilege. The reason most people never reach their goals is that they don't define them or even seriously consider them as believable or achievable. Winners can tell you where they are going, what they plan to do along the way, and who will be sharing in the adventure with them. So begin with an end in mind and start planning your dreams and goals today. The greatest goal is to be there when the Lord returns. All right, motivation for today. If you have knowledge, let others light their lanterns at it. On this day in history in 1745, in Scotland, the Jacobite supporters of Bonnie Prince Charlie, the Young Pretender, occupy Edinburgh, and that's a little bit of the dispute over who actually was the king. In 1787, under the chairmanship of George Washington, 39 out of 42 delegates officially approve and sign the Constitution of the United States of America. 1931, in America, the record company RCA Victor demonstrates the long-playing record LP, and it has a whopping 33 1/3 revolutions per minute. The initial venture fails because of the high cost of production. The first micro groove records, they don't appear until 1948. 1939 and World War II, Russia sitting there going, Germany just invaded Poland. We've got a non-aggression pact. What do? I know, let's invade Poland too. And they did in the East. 1944, during World War II, British and American paratroopers begin Operation Market Garden, and that's the landing of thousands of troops behind German lines in Holland. British paratroopers sent to capture and hold the bridge over the Rhine at Arnhem fight for 10 days before being forced to retreat, having suffered heavy losses. Their battle is the subject of the book and film, A Bridge Too Far. Here's your personal story for today. Look at them now. And this is a story off the internet, and let's just see what it says. Education bosses delay the plan to introduce new guidelines for religious education teachers, which include warnings against such terms as Holy Ghost. Well, that might be a little too trivial or spooky for children. And under the guidelines, schools are also advised to take school trips to churches only when they are full. We don't want the sights of empty buildings to make people believe that Christianity is irrelevant. Most major religions feature in a list of do's and don'ts drawn up by education chiefs in Norfolk to prevent students from being confused or alienated by religious terms. Less than 20 years later, they have abandoned nearly every moral and spiritual truth that they ever tried to protect, even though they were wrong in the first place. You and I can still do the job today, so let's keep at it. That's what the Lord wants. Devotional thoughts for today. Job 30, verse 20. I cry unto thee, and thou dost not hear me. References today are from Job 30, verses 1 to 31. When we hear Job's despair in today's verses, we see clearly how forsaken and desperate that Job felt when he believed that God had abandoned him. We remember Jesus on the cross, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Repeating the psalm that David cried out. So there's a lot of that going around, but what a contrast for poor Job and the reflection of his life had once been. We read about that yesterday. How difficult it must have been to be mocked and ridiculed by those who formerly would have shown you well-deserved respect. The very dregs of the community, whose fathers have been shunned from decent society, now spit upon Job in disdain. Recall from yesterday's study that Job went out of his way to help the less fortunate. The bitter irony that some of these same individuals now refuse to show Job any compassion, no doubt that only increased his pain. The cruelty that Job experienced from his own community was in addition to the chronic physical pain that had come to define Job's existence. Job is more than willing to point the finger squarely at God to explain his condition. Moreover, the sheer horror of the perception that he had been utterly abandoned by the Lord comes to its fullest expression in verses 20 to 23. Notice that even in his accusations, Job doesn't deny the Lord. Though he wrongly attributes malicious actions and motives to God, he still directs his anguish to him. And into Ruth 2:8, bit by bit, it says, Then said Boaz unto Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here, fast by my maidens. If you were to ask a dairy farmer how a cow gets lost, chances are he would reply, well, the cow starts nibbling on a tuft of green grass, and when it finishes, it looks ahead at the next tuft of green grass. After it finishes that one, it looks ahead and starts nibbling on the next one. And then it nibbles on the grass right next to the hole in the fence. And when it sees another tuft of grass on the other side of the fence, it nibbles on that one, and then another one, and the next thing you know, the cow has nibbled itself lost. Boaz knew how easy it was to drift into danger. His fear for Ruth was that she might wander in the field of some unscrupulous person who would take advantage of her. Therefore he admonished her, Stay close by my young women. In other words, don't stray from the company of my female workers, and you will be safe. Sin works in the same principle. Seldom does Satan open a big hole in the fence for us to dash through into sin. He always begins by tempting us. Here's a little tuft of sin. Let's take a bigger one. And it progresses until we lift our heads and realize we have nibbled ourselves away, far away from God. Bite by bite, we have wandered away until we're lost. Now, if you find yourself in that situation today, do two things. Stop right where we are and look around to see where God is. Then take comfort. The one who loves you more than anyone or anything else in the world has come to seek and to save that which was lost. Get help from family, church members. They care. This is your family of God. They will protect and uplift you. As a point of interest, Boaz means in strength and by strength, bit by bit, in the right direction. So let's do that today, shall we? That concludes today, and here's your facts. On average, there used to be 333 squares of toilet paper on a roll. Yeah, rush off and count that now and see how close they are. And pentatherpophobia is the fear of a mother-in-law. Here's your closing thought. The picture of health requires a healthy frame of mind. Here's a couple of rapid-fire jokes for you. What did the grape do when it got stepped on? It let out a little wine. Why won't skeletons fight each other? Oh, let's face it, they just don't have the guts. That's all I got. Thanks for coming. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.